to stop whatever you are doing right now and actually listen. Not the way you half listen when you are scrolling through your phone with one eye on the screen and one eye on something else. I mean, actually sit down, stop moving, and hear what I am about to say. Because if there is even a 5% chance that the next 20 minutes changes the direction of your financial life, is that not worth 20 minutes of your full attention? I think it is. And I think somewhere deep down you do too. Here is what I know about the person watching this right now. You are not lazy. You are not stupid. You are not someone who has been dealt a hand so bad that success is out of reach. You are someone who has been told the wrong things by the wrong people for a very long time. You have been told that if you work hard, keep your head down, be patient, and be grateful for what you have, life will reward you. And maybe that used to be true. But right now, in this economy, in this world, that advice will keep you average at best and broke at worst. The truth is uncomfortable. The truth is that the people who are building real wealth, who are generating real freedom, who are traveling when they want and working because they want to and not because they have to, they did not follow the same rules you were given. They broke them. They questioned everything they were told about money, about work, about what success looks like, and then they built something different, something that actually worked. And that is what I want to show you today. I am not going to waste your time with motivation that evaporates the second you close this video. I am not here to make you feel good for 15 minutes. I am here to give you a framework, a way of thinking about business and money, and your own potential that will stick, that will change the lens through which you see every decision you make from this moment forward. That is what 30 minutes can actually do if you let it. So let us get into it. The first thing we need to dismantle is the story most people carry about money, because most people have a deeply broken relationship with it. They think money is something that belongs to other people. Something that gets handed out at birth, or inherited from lucky families, or stumbled upon by people who are in the right place at the right time. They think money is about luck. And that belief alone, that single poisonous idea, is what keeps 90% of people from ever building real financial freedom. Here is the truth about money, and I want you to write this down somewhere, or at least burn it into your memory. Money is a measurement. That is all it is. It is a scorecard that tells you how much value you created in the world. Every single dollar in your bank account represents a problem you solved for someone, a service you delivered, a result you produced for another human being. When you understand that, you stop thinking about how to get money, and you start thinking about how to create value. And that single shift in thinking is worth more than any business degree you could buy. Think about the people you know who have money. Real money. Not the people who look rich on Instagram. Not the ones driving a leased car and renting a house they can barely afford. I mean the people who have genuine financial security. Every single one of them built it by solving a problem that other people had and were willing to pay to have solved. Some of them solved it for a few people at a very high price. Some of them solved it for millions of people at a small price. The vehicle was different, but the engine was the same. Value creation equals income. Always, without exception. So, the question you need to sit with is this. What problem are you solving right now? Not what job do you have, not what degree do you hold. What actual human problem do you solve, and are you solving it in a way that scales? Because if your only tool is your own time, you will always be limited by how many hours exist in a day. And no matter how hard you work, 24 hours is a ceiling that will never move. I have spent years studying business. I have built multiple companies, helped hundreds of entrepreneurs scale their revenue, and watched businesses go from barely surviving to generating millions of dollars. And in all of that time, the single most consistent thing I have seen is this. Businesses do not fail because of bad products. They fail because of bad offers. And most people do not even know the difference. Your product is what you make or deliver. Your offer is the entire experience of buying from you. It includes what the customer gets, what result they are moving toward, how confident they feel that they will actually get that result, how quickly they will get it, and how much effort they have to put in along the way. Most entrepreneurs spend 90% of their energy on the product and almost none on the offer. And then they wonder why nobody is buying. Let me break down what makes an offer irresistible. First, you need an absolutely crystal clear dream outcome. Not a vague promise, not a feature list. A vivid, specific, emotionally resonant description of where the customer will be after they work with you or use your product. The more precisely you can describe what they are walking toward, the more they will believe you can take them there. If you can describe their dream outcome better than they can describe it themselves, you have already won half the sale before you have said a single word about price. Second, you need certainty. People do not just buy results. They buy the feeling that the result is actually going to happen for them. This is why testimonials, case studies, guarantees, and social proof are not optional extras. They are the foundation of your offer. Every piece of evidence you have that your thing actually works is doing a job in the mind of your potential customer. It is reducing the perceived risk. It is making the yes feel safer than the no. And in a world full of promises that get broken, certainty is the rarest and most valuable thing you can offer. Third, think about time. How fast can your customer get the result they are paying for? Because speed is a feature. If you can compress the time between someone handing you money and them experiencing the outcome they wanted, you have massively increased the value of your offer. This is why done-for-you services command higher prices than courses. The course might have the same information, but the service removes the time and effort, and people will always pay a premium to skip the line. And fourth, think about effort. How much work does the customer have to do? The lower the friction, the higher the perceived value. The ideal offer delivers a massive result with minimal effort from the buyer. That is not about cutting corners on your end. That is about being so thorough in your process, so systematic in your delivery, that the customer barely has to think. They just trust the system and watch the results appear. When you can build an offer like that, price becomes almost irrelevant. I want to have an honest conversation about something that most business content avoids because it is uncomfortable. The reason most businesses stop growing is not the market. It is not competition. It is not the economy. It is the person running the business. And if that is you, then this part of the conversation is about you. There is a pattern I have seen in hundreds of businesses, and I want you to recognize it before it consumes you. It goes like this. You start with nothing. You build through sheer force of will, working longer hours than anyone around you, doing every job yourself because you cannot afford help, and honestly because you do not fully trust anyone else to do it the way you would. And it works. Business grows. Revenue climbs. You are proud of what you have built, and you should be. But then something starts to shift. The same hustle that got you here starts to feel like a trap. You are busier than ever, but the growth has slowed. You are working more hours but making the same money. And you cannot figure out why. The answer is almost always the same. You became the bottleneck. Every decision in the business requires your input. Every customer question eventually finds its way to you. Every hire needs your approval. Every problem lands on your desk. And the business, which started as a vehicle for your freedom, has become the most demanding job you have ever had. The only difference between now and before is that now you cannot even quit. The move out of this trap is one of the hardest things an entrepreneur ever has to do. It requires you to replace yourself, not to abandon the business, not to stop caring, but to build systems and teams that can carry the weight you have been carrying alone, to document every repeatable process, to hire people who are better than you at specific tasks, and then actually let them do those tasks without hovering over their shoulder, to shift your role from doing the work to building the machine that does the work. This transition requires a complete identity shift, because for a long time your value to the business was defined by how much you did. Now your value is defined by how well the business runs without you. That is a completely different skill set and a completely different way of seeing yourself. And most entrepreneurs resist it because it feels like letting go of the thing they built. But what you are actually letting go of is the thing that is preventing you from growing. There is also a financial component to this that I see people get wrong constantly. Most business owners, the moment they start making real money, they upgrade their lifestyle immediately. New car, bigger house, more expensive everything. And I understand the impulse. You worked hard, you earned it. But here is the problem. Every dollar you pull out of the business is a dollar that cannot compound inside the business. And compounding is the engine of real wealth. The entrepreneurs I know who built genuinely life-changing net worth are almost all the same. They lived below their means in the early years, treated every dollar in the business like a seed, and let the business grow before they let themselves grow. That restraint, that willingness to delay gratification, is not a sacrifice. It is the strategy. Everything I have shared so far is external. It is about offers and systems and business strategy, and all of it matters, but none of it works if the internal game is broken. And for most people, the internal game is the real battle, not the market, not the competition, not the economy, the voice inside their own head. I want to talk about fear, because fear is the single greatest destroyer of human potential I have ever observed. Not failure, fear. Because failure you can recover from. Failure teaches you something, reshapes your approach, and makes you sharper. But fear stops you before you ever get the chance to fail. Fear whispers that you are not ready, that you do not have enough experience, that someone smarter, younger, better connected, more talented is going to beat you to it. And while you are listening to that whisper, they are already building. There are two specific fears that I see derail entrepreneurs more than anything else. The first is fear of judgment. This is the fear that says if you put yourself out there, someone will laugh, someone will criticize, someone will say, "Who does this person think they are?" And so instead of posting the content, making the offer, raising the price, reaching out to the big client, you do nothing. You stay small. You stay safe. You stay comfortable. And you stay broke. Shh. Here's what I want you to understand about judgment. Nobody is thinking about you as much as you think they are. The people who are afraid of judging you are busy worrying about their own lives, their own insecurities, their own fear of judgment. The critic who might comment on your post has not built anything worth criticizing. The people who laugh at your ambition are the same people who will be asking you for advice in 3 years. The judgment you are terrified of is mostly imaginary. And the tiny fraction of it that is real does not matter at all. The second fear is deeper and more dangerous. It is the fear of your own potential. I know that sounds strange. Why would anyone be afraid of succeeding? But I have seen it too many times to dismiss it. When people get close to a real breakthrough, when success starts to feel genuinely possible, something in them pulls back. They self-sabotage. They pick a fight with a partner or a client right when things are going well. They make a bad financial decision. They take on too much and let everything collapse. And they do it because success would mean becoming someone different from who they have always been. And becoming someone different, even someone better, is terrifying. The solution to both of these fears is not to eliminate them. You cannot eliminate fear. The solution is to act in spite of them. Every single person you admire in business, every entrepreneur who built something remarkable, they were scared. They doubted themselves. They heard the voice that said this might not work. They just moved anyway. And every time they moved in spite of the fear lost a little bit of its power. And their belief in themselves gained a little bit more. I also want to talk about identity, because your identity is the silent rule that governs everything. You will never consistently act outside of what you believe about yourself. If you believe you are the kind of person who struggles with money, you will find ways to struggle with money no matter what opportunities come your way. If you believe you are not built for entrepreneurship, you will find evidence everywhere to confirm that belief. The mind is extraordinarily good at proving itself right. Changing your identity is not about fake confidence or motivational mantras you repeat in the mirror. It is about doing things and surviving them. It is about taking one hard action, seeing yourself on the other side of it, and updating your internal story accordingly. Every scary call you make and survive tells you something new about who you are. Every rejection you walk through and keep going tells you that rejection cannot stop you. Stack enough of those moments, and you become someone new, someone who builds things, someone who closes deals, someone for whom success is not a wish but an expectation. I do not believe in inspiration without instruction, so let me give you the actual moves. The things you can do starting today, not when you feel ready, not when conditions are perfect. But today, that will begin shifting the trajectory of your financial life. The first move is to find the one constraint, not 5 things, not a long list of improvements. The one thing in your business or your income right now that if you fixed it would unlock everything else. Every system has a bottleneck. Every business has a single point of failure that is limiting its growth. Your job is to find that point and attack it with everything you have. Most people spread their energy across 20 problems and solve none of them. The people who grow fast pick one thing, put all their energy there, and move the needle before they pick the next thing. Constraint identification is not a business skill. It is a superpower. The second move is to rewrite your offer. Take whatever you are selling right now and run it through the framework I described earlier. What is the dream outcome you are promising? Is it specific and emotionally resonant? How are you building certainty? What proof do you have that your thing works? How fast does the customer get the result? And how much effort are you asking them to put in? Write down the answers. Be honest with yourself. Then ask, if I were the customer, would this offer feel irresistible? If the answer is no, you know what to fix. Shh. The third move is to hire before you feel ready. I know that sentence makes most people deeply uncomfortable, because the instinct is to wait until you can afford to hire. But here's the problem with that logic. The revenue that hiring makes possible is revenue you do not currently have. You will never generate it if you do not create the capacity to deliver it. Every time I see an entrepreneur who is stuck at the same revenue number for 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, the reason is almost always that they are doing work that someone else should be doing. Make the hire, train the person, build the capacity, and then go fill it. The fourth move is to protect your compounding. Every dollar you leave in the business is working for you. Every system you build that runs without your direct involvement is buying you back time. Every team member who handles a process you used to handle is freeing your energy for higher leverage work. You are not just building a business, you are building a compound interest machine. And the biggest enemy of compounding is impatience. The entrepreneur who pulls out money too early, who stops reinvesting, who liquidates before the machine has fully built itself, is stealing from their future self. The fifth move is the one most people skip, and it is possibly the most important. Protect your energy. I am not talking about meditation retreats or morning routines for the sake of having a morning routine. I am talking about the fundamental understanding that your energy is the most valuable asset in your entire business. More valuable than your capital. More valuable than your team. More valuable than your strategy. Because without your energy fully present and directed, none of the other things work. An exhausted entrepreneur makes bad decisions. A burned out founder snaps at clients and misses opportunities. A depleted creator produces content that does not connect. Sleep, move. Protect your mental environment. Get away from people who drain you and stay close to people who challenge you and believe in what you are building. I want to close with something real. Not a slogan, not a quote you can put on a poster. Something that I genuinely believe and that I want you to carry with you after this video ends. The gap between where you are right now and the financial life you actually want is not as large as you have been led to believe. It is not 10 years away. It is not waiting on some magical combination of timing and luck and readiness. It is on the other side of a decision. A real decision. Not the kind where you say, I am going to change and then go back to the same patterns tomorrow. The kind where you actually see yourself differently. Where you decide that your current situation is not a reflection of what you are capable of, but simply a reflection of the thinking you have been operating with up until now. Every person who ever built something great started from a worse position than they wanted to be in. Every entrepreneur you admire had a moment where everything was uncertain and the outcome was not guaranteed and the fear was real and they moved anyway. They were not more talented than you. They were not more talented than you. They were not luckier than you. They simply decided earlier that they were not going to accept the default version of their life. And then they went to work. You've been watching this video for 20 minutes. That tells me something about you. It tells me that you are not someone who has given up. It tells me that somewhere underneath whatever frustration or doubt or fear you might be feeling right now, there is still a version of you that believes something better is possible. I'm asking you to listen to that version, to stop entertaining the smaller story and start living inside the bigger one, because the world does not need more people who almost built something. It needs more people who finish what they started. Everything I shared today, the value creation mindset, the offer framework, the systems thinking, the internal game, the 5 moves, none of it is complicated. All of it requires commitment. And commitment is the one thing nobody can give you. You have to choose it for yourself. Today, not Monday, not when the timing is better. Today,